We create rules through our perception that gets processed through our mind. When I give myself permission to get quiet through meditation, through mindfulness practices, but ultimately I think is just an unbelievable source of strength and growth and capacity and creativity. And our intellectual capacity is what we leverage and rely upon in order to make sense of the world around us and who we are. We create rules through our perception that gets processed through our mind, and that becomes the definition of ourselves. So what's interesting about this is my wife is like all in her heart. And I think with certain men, I'm perceived as somebody who is very heart-centered, but my wife looks at me as a guy who lives entirely in my head, like, because the contrast between us is pretty significant. And she's been an amazing teacher in helping me to make that connection that I find so difficult. And in times of stress and anxiety, I will inevitably default back to, because it's so hardwired. But I found that when I give myself permission to get quiet through meditation, through mindfulness practices, to listen to myself and try to, if there is a practice to it, it's really not necessarily like a rebirthing, but trying to connect with that child. You know, what is your earliest memory? What is it that brought you joy as a young person? What did you like to do that you forgot you even liked doing? And the more you can kind of ground it in that context and learn to listen and be silent and get out of the way, as opposed to allowing your ego to intervene or to make people understand that you're here and you have something to say, can you get quiet? Can you be with yourself? Are you good company for yourself? Are you haunted by your brain? Is your brain working on overdrive? What would it feel like to let go of that and listen to the subtle energies, that internal voice that you know lives inside of you, but you're so quick to snuff out because you have stuff to do and you're an important person and you got to call that guy and you got to check your bank balance and you got to go online and see how much that car lease is, or when am I going to be able to upgrade my condo to this house? All that bullshit is just getting in the way of that authentic, real version of yourself that's kind of down there going, hey buddy, I'm here, don't forget me. That feels very feminine, and I think it's probably challenging for a lot of guys. It just feels antithetical to what it means to be a man or their notion of masculinity, that when nourished, really might surprise you. And I know that when it's counterintuitive for me, Chris, like I like to live in my head, but when I allow myself to do that, those are the moments that have been fundamental and critical in these transformations that I've had in my life. They have not been functions of the intellect. They have been functions of the heart and appreciating what that aspect of myself is trying to tell me about who I am, heeding it, taking action on it. That is at the foundation of every quantum leap that I've made as a human being. We create rules through our perception that gets processed through our mind. But I found that when I give myself permission to get quiet through meditation, through mindfulness practices, but ultimately I think is just an unbelievable source of strength and growth and capacity and creativity